Hey everyone, Dan here. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button and keep in mind that these are my own thoughts, opinions, and ideas. These are not meant to be, nor should you take them as investment or trading advice in any way, shape, or form. Do your own due diligence, put in the work for yourself, and make your decisions based on that. Enjoy. Alright folks, here we are after market close on Monday, October 23rd. We're going to take a look at Teladoc today. So Teladoc, as I'm sure you know, has earnings coming up. They are anticipating a pretty strong movement based off of earnings. We've seen that recently in the past. This one here, plus 27% almost. This one here was plus 6, so much more tame. This one here was minus 6. So, pretty solid moves in both directions based off of earnings. So we'll see what tomorrow may bring. Now, I thought we'd put some levels, some trend lines on the chart. I'm going to start off with a trend line, and then we're going to scroll way back because there is some previous price action in this range that we can grab from the pretty distant past. So we're going to do that, and then we'll flip over to the ThinkOrSwim study and call it a video. Now, before we put any other lines in, the most important thing, if TDOC is going to reverse and use any big reaction to earnings as a reversal, it's going to need to break this downtrend resistance. This is the most critical thing holding it down at the moment, not just because it's caught underneath it and so it keeps losing price, but because every time it tries to make a little run, a little swing, it smacks it and gets pushed down further. Now, this is also a very young downtrend resistance, so it may not be super strong, which if you're a bull, that could be a good thing. Because it has it has sort of a near miss here. It has the initiation, and then really just, even if you count this, like 2 confirmations, that's pretty early on in the life cycle of a trend line. So I'm skeptical until we get like 3, 4, confirmation points on it. So I'm not quite there on this one yet, but I thought we would put it in, in case it sort of comes into play. You could maybe stretch it back here. I don't know if that, yeah, that sort of plays as well. That could give you a little bit more confidence in that trend line. So, that might, yeah, that might be a little bit more. Might be something more to it from there. Now, there is a gap here as well. We're going to plug that in while we're here. Put this on the bottom of this candle. We're going to gray these out because we don't want to confuse them with particular support and resistance levels, but just to say, hey, when you see these gray lines approaching, just know that you're getting into a gap. So that gap would start at it would enter at about 2015 and it would fill it at about 2047. So not a huge gap, but if it were to drag the price of the stock up about $2.50, that's a pretty big percentage change for a stock that's only $18 at the moment. Now let's zoom out and let's scroll back to where we were at $17 and $18 way back. So way back here, in the very early days of public TDOC. And let's grab ourselves some levels. $15.96, so that might play out more like a psychological $16 level. Pretty good level there at 816, so that's pretty close into where we are at the moment. Know that we're going to get a ton of additional useful stuff from here. Let's grab something to the downside in case we start to shed a little bit. Let's go here. We're about 1511. And then, okay, we have something coming to the upside here. Okay, it's pretty good levels here. 1926. Okay, now let's see if we have something in between, because we have big space in between. Again, percentage-wise, it might not seem like a huge dollar difference, but percentage-wise, pretty big difference. And let's see if there's anything else that makes sense to add in besides the gap to the upside. I don't know why I keep hitting that today. I have construction going on at the house, and it's throwing me off a little bit, I think. Okay, 2261. Let's see how that one played out, or if we want to move that down a little bit. 2261. Does it seem a little high? No, it's pretty good there. Pretty good here. Okay. All right, we're going to leave it there. Hey folks, just so you know, you can get these videos early and ad-free. If you click on the description below and become a member, you can make that happen, and I really appreciate the support. Thanks a lot. Enjoy the rest of the video. Yeah, and then sort of smack dab through the middle of that price action. Okay, so that makes sense. Okay, so I don't know that there's actually a ton between this 22.61 and this 19.26, other than the gap levels, and then probably something right about here. This is from obviously much more recent price action, right just shy of 22. Okay, so there's potentially some run room there if it treats that gap like run room. It could also treat that gap as sort of like two resistance levels. We've seen that happen before, so just be aware. If it does push up, that might be the case, but we just have to kind of wait and see. And if it does start to lose price action and loses that $18 level, just shy, or I guess just below the $17 level, $16.92, and then just below 16 at $15.96 look like potential support levels to me. Maybe pay attention to what it does there if it gets to those levels. But aside from that, if it does decide to push up, again, to me, most important thing is leaving behind this downtrend resistance. And even if it pushes down, if it starts to squirm its way toward this in the coming days or weeks, again, watching what it does there, does it just sort of push off of that downtrend resistance again, or is it able to get some motion through it? And what does it do once it does that? Now, ThinkOrSwim study, situated quite low in the channel here. I would just also note, if it does get a big push up that sort of sustains for several days, and it pushes up into the, say, mid-20s, this is a 180 to 200 EMA cloud up here, and last time it tried to push through that, it caught really strong resistance, and it gave a valiant effort. As you can see, right, it tried to push up through, stretched up a bit, but it just couldn't hold it, and lost that price action pretty strongly off of that resistance level. So if it does, have a more sustained push to that range, mid-20s, maybe look for the potential there to catch some stickiness. We do see the TTM squeeze indicator triggering for now several days. So that's pretty interesting. Triggering while the price action is sort of like hugging the mid-range slash slightly receding. And coming down into this range where it previously caught support, right around here, and it's kind of wrestling with that level a bit at the moment. So near the bottom range of the channel, recently left the mid-range while putting in now its 5th trigger candle in a row, maybe gearing up to fire and make a big move right at earnings or right after earnings. The question is always, when it triggers and then fires, where does the big move go? Is it a big move up or a big move down? That's the question. But as you see right now, still firmly caught in a downtrend per this study here. So keeping an eye on that, to me, the most interesting thing of this entire study is that there's 5 days into the trigger on the TTM squeeze indicator. You see previously, when it had done this for several days, the payoff was pretty solid, right? It was hugging the mid-range here, push down, so kind of a similar setup here. Push the mid-range of the channel, settling toward the downside, and then it started to fire. And when that fired, it brought the price from about, say, 2021 all the way down to the lows down here, right about 18. So again, percentage-wise, pretty solid move. We'll see if that sort of history repeats itself there, or what the stock wants to do based on these levels and the reaction to earnings. All right, folks, I hope that your trading week is off to a good start. And as always, I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next video.